to Nekka. A local petition was drawn up in her support. Though the neighborhood petition the police had used to arrest her had been anonymous, this time 43 people put their names down to be counted.
Us, the locals of Nekka, are informed and witness that Atefah Sahale was arrested while there was nobody in the house with her. She suffers from severe psychological issues, we note, in order to put a halt to the verdict of execution.
From prison, Atefah wrote her own letter of defense.
I, Atefah Sahale, would like to file a complaint with regards to the sentence of execution. There are medical records that show I suffer from mental infirmity and during certain times of the day of complete mental lapses. I would like Your Honor to listen to my request for freedom.
But Atefah did have another very good chance at leniency. It was her age, just 16.
She was born in 1988. She was 16 when she was executed. She would have been 16.
In 2004, the head of judiciary in Iran had reiterated a suspension of executions for those under 18. But here, the Nekka court made a very striking mistake. In the documents that went to the Supreme Court of Appeal, Atefah is described as 22.
Neither the judge nor even Atefah's court-appointed lawyer did anything to find out her true age.
The judge just looked at her body because of developed physique. The judge declared her as a 22.
But Atefah's family were at this point unaware of this error, and the appeal was called in Tehran unusually soon. Though cases often take up to 6 months at least to be heard, it was called within just 30 days.
The judge had personally taken Atefah's file to the Supreme Court in Tehran and managed to do what normally takes 20 days to achieve in just 1 day. For all these procedures to have happened in a month is completely impossible. Something is very odd in this case, but I can't put my finger on it.
The Supreme Court issued their decision.
Atefah Sahale, 22, daughter of Zafar Ali. Since she has confessed to this crime, and it is her 4th time, we issue the verdict of execution. This is in accordance to the Islamic laws of Iran. The execution will take place in a public place in Nekka, so that the public may learn from it.
I asked her once to phone Hassan up and let me talk with him. Atefah dialed his number and gave the phone to me. I talked with him. He told he wants to make Atefah happy. He told he loves Atefah more than life itself. Hassan was the only man around her. He didn't take advantage of her.
Maybe if her relationship with Hassan had been allowed to flourish, if she had had a family of her own, Just maybe her behavior would have changed and become less difficult. Maybe her story would have had a different ending. But you're listening to the hopes and dreams of a campaigner here. I'm not an expert.
Atefah's family and friends were not told she was running out of time.
I went to make an appointment with Judge on Wednesday. He was due to go on holiday, and he didn't know if it was possible. He was never go on any holiday. He was going to be executing Atefah that day.
Under the supervision of a court officer, Atefah was made to write a will.
I, Atefah Sahale, would like to meet with my family before the execution verdict is carried out. I have a fridge, a heater, a TV and a CD player. If possible, I would like to give these to an orphan girl who is about to get married.
At 9:30 at night, my nephew came at home and told me there's a crane in the square. I felt queasy. I somehow knew something wrong, what's going on before it happened.
I'm okay and ready to be executed. I have nothing more to say. I've said it all. I have nothing more to add.
Talking about the day of execution is very difficult. And it is fairly indicative of all societies where executions are acceptable to its population. It's natural for people in these societies to turn up to watch an execution. If these people did not exist, you could be sure that the execution itself would not exist. Atefah's was the same. There was a crowd gathered.
It was close to 6 in the morning. The sun was coming up. Everybody was there, old, young, and bicycle with cars. But nobody were from Atefah's family. Atefah looked like an Indian actress, Maturi, and everyone was whistling and clapping and saying Maturi. Some local young man was clapping and whistling and say Maturi is coming. She had to wear a black veil. She recited Azan very beautifully, and she loudly shouted, "Please forgive me. My God, please forgive me. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Please forgive me." Just before they hoisted her up into the air, she whispered something in the moral police women's ears. I went to her. She told me that she had said to Atefah, "Please forgive us if we had to get rough with you." Atefah, who had her hand tied up behind her, said, "Don't worry about this. Haj Rezai told me they have just want to scare